You and I haven't talked about the Dolphins offense at all this season. After today, after the way the first 10 weeks of the year have gone, where are you on the Dolphins offense?
Oh, like thinking they could rip through the playoffs and very easily get to the Super Bowl if they stay healthy. I wouldn't have wanted to talk about, I know, just the running game, because that's a combination of the Browns' running defense and
that's also
their
the
general
concern.
defense.
It's hard to judge them.
But it's also part of Miami figuring out who they are, and now defenses are shitting themselves trying to figure out how do we stop these guys. And even though we can talk about Tua's downfield passing and the numbers are good, the accuracy and the ability to hit guys in stride, not quite as good as the numbers would show, but still incredibly efficient. I think he's the best, guy throwing 20 plus yards down the field, which is because Tyreek is wide open and Waddle is wide open. And so even though he can't drive it downfield like a Herbert or an Allen or Mahomes, he's still super successful. I keep talking about the 2017 version of Alex Smith. Like, you don't have to have a strong arm or the greatest velocity to make that work if you're throwing in rhythm and if your guys are that wide open, because your offense is that good. And so teams are now realizing we have to cover 50, 60 yards deep, because it's very real that they can push the ball downfield like that. And so now that opens up everything underneath. And this is an offense which has so much speed in really every position now. Now the running back room solidified, the offensive line, you can tell, starting to figure it out. I think run game wise, there was a combination of doing a lot of things out of shotgun that the Shanahan tree is used to doing from under center, and kind of figuring out the exact angles and timing and relationship of the running back to what you're expecting on the offensive line at the tight end and receiver positions. But you could tell today, man, like the run game, the receivers on the backside are coming in and sealing off at the right angle. Like they all understand the offense so much better now, and they get those angles, and there's so much space to make it work. And McDaniel is, realizing how to maximize every single guy's strength. Like they're doing a lot more shotgun because Tua is really good at it, and that's what he's used to. And they're incorporating the best versions of what Tua's done in college and at the pros, with the best things from the Shanahan playbook, with the best things you can do with the best receiver and the next fastest guy in the NFL. And it looks awesome. And it doesn't look like there's really a way to stop it. I hope Miami can stay healthy, because I like good offenses. I love watching, good football, and they're playing really good football right now, on the offensive side of the ball for sure.
It's hard not to watch them and not just smile. Like there are sequences of plays where you're like, oh, that's good shit, man. Like the first quarter today, there was like 8:25 left in the first quarter. They had a little play fake from the gun, and they got him on the move just a little bit. And their offensive line is playing much, much better, obviously, than they did last year, but still is the area of this team you'd be the most concerned about. When Teron's in there, it's obviously much more solidified. But anytime you can get him on the move a little bit, get him out of the pocket, change the launch point, you're going to help yourself. So they just do that in subtle ways. The next play, they ran a run from the gun, like you're talking about, with Ingold coming across to kick out the end man on the line of scrimmage and Hunt pulling up. It was beautiful. Timing, angles, everything. Next play, they do it the opposite way. Ingold coming across, another chunk play in the run game. Next play is the Ingold touchdown. He comes across the formation again, sneaks out into the flat. Tua does a great job of making the unblocked edge miss, dumps it off to him, touchdown. So you have these three plays in sequence where he's coming across the formation. There's two run designs attached to it, and then there's a play action throw off of it that they score a touchdown on. And that's sort of stuff where it all fits together. And you talk about them understanding the offense, understanding what you're trying to accomplish, really settling in. You see that stuff all the time. And then you get to the Tua plays. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, they probably have 4 more counters to those looks. Like,
Absolutely,
that's the thing playing for Shanahan. Like, I'm going to do this, they're going to react to it, and then I'm going to do this, and they're going to react to it, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then that. And there's so many levels of what we can do to mess with guys on, like, just a tight end or a fullback coming across the formation. You can cut the defensive end, you can block him up high, you can bluff him, release to the flat, you can hit him, get up, release to the flat, you can miss them all together and sneak out vertically. Like, there's so many things off of one simple guy coming across the formation, and now you tie that to 5 skill guys and the quarterback and shotgun under center, a little bit of pistol stuff sprinkled in, putting these guys in the backfield. Like, this is the best version of what the offense could be, and it's cool that we've seen it. And like you're saying, we're going to talk about, like, Tua as a passer looks as good as he's ever looked as well.
He looks really, really good. And there are moments that to me, this is a perfect encapsulation of the conversation that we're having about Tua, where you watch the play and it's like, oh, it's underthrown. Like he just doesn't have that big of an arm, but it makes sense within what they're trying to accomplish. It's 5:33 left in the second quarter. It was 1st and 10. The Browns brought the third safety off the edge on a play action pass. So the pocket is crumbling and he doesn't have much time after he gets his head around, but he gets the throw off and it's a Tyreek down the right sideline and it's underthrown, quote unquote, by probably 4 or 5 yards. But him even getting that ball off and knowing where that space is a testament to him understanding exactly what he's trying to accomplish and where he's trying to attack a team. So there's an ocean of space out there, but he knows it. He knows all he has to do is get that ball out of his hand, and it's going to be a huge play. It was really similar, and it reminded me of the 3rd and 13 completion they had against Detroit on that cover 0 play in the first half, where the ball is underthrown, but the fact that he even gets it off and knows that if he does get it off, it's going to be a huge play, he deserves credit for that. So it all is coming from these different directions where he's doing everything he can do within his skill set to make the offense really good. The design of it all makes sense, and I think is even getting better as they learn their personnel. And you have all this heat coming at you all of the time that just makes teams terrified in every single moment of every single game. So when you're trying to divvy up credit, it's hard to pull one thing apart from the other. But I think the conclusion is it doesn't really matter. The end result is the scariest offense in football right now.
Yeah, and it's the type of thing that when you criticize the arm strength or the underthrows, like, that doesn't mean that you don't think he's a good player. Like, we're just talking about what the best version could look like compared to top guys in the NFL, because when you're the 5th overall pick or the 6th overall pick, that's how you're going to be compared. Like, you were one of the best quarterback prospects coming out of high school and then coming out of college. So yeah, you're going to be compared to Mahomes and Allen and the back-to-back Rodgers MVP seasons, and say, do you have the same top level as these other guys? Like, the stuff that we knew he could do really well is process, get the ball out quickly, be very accurate and 20 yards and under. I think we've seen all of that, and the best he's been at all of that throughout the season. And for the most part, not super surprising that he's good at that. Like, that is what he's good at. The question was, can all of that overcome, what is a deficiency compared to the top level quarterbacks? And so far the answer is yes, because the offense, like you said, is so drastically good that there aren't many off-platform plays. There is so much space that they can afford those underthrows. There are just so many good things happening that he's able to look exceptional in the offense. And there are a couple throws today that you realize, like, he obviously knows himself and he's a good quarterback and knows how to throw the ball, but he alters, like, the height of the release in terms of where the ball is going. Like, if it was, in baseball terms, it'd kind of be launch angle, but that's kind of how he buffers the lack of arm strength per se. And there's these throws, like the one to the back left corner of the end zone, that he just
Beautiful.
releases it. It's beautiful. And that throw was so much higher than some of his others, and not because he needed to necessarily, like, throw it super high to drop it in, but because, like, that's the calibration he needed to get it to that spot in the right area. Because again, Mahomes or Allen, they could have made that throw and they could have thrown it with a little bit more of kind of a driving, pushing the ball through the wind, and still put it up top level where your guy could go up and get it. But for him, he's adjusting the angles of throws kind of based on the velocity he needs. And it shows, like you said, a true mastery of kind of what he's doing, his understanding of himself, what he needs to get to the receivers. But, getting to that kind of top level question, is, Tua making the offense, like, drastically better, or theoretically, are you able to plug someone else in there who can make quick decisions to get the ball out? I'd say the last few weeks, it does seem like he's trending towards being someone who's, maximizing the offense to what he can do. I don't know if it's maximizing the offense compared to what, again, Mahomes, Allen, Herbert could do. And once you truly get a guy who could, like, launch a 70 yards downfield. And so that's the Tua debate. And that's the frustrating thing, is, like, it's so close to being the best thing that you could possibly wish. There's just, like, this one little thing holding it back. But I think for now, watching him, appreciating it, and just seeing this machine that they've turned into on offense. It's really fun, and they're definitely on my TV every single week.